Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Steve's Horse Show. Today I'm talking with Kevin Sherman and he's going to tell me about how to take care of horse hooves. Let's talk about what's the most common question you get when you go out to shoe somebody's horse?
Probably just the health, like how to get their horse's feet healthier, or are they healthy? You know, there's a lot of
So they don't even know, like, what do my horse's hooves look like compared to all the others?
Sure. Yeah.
Who's your favorite? Who's got the best hooves?
Who's got the best hooves? Well, probably Nikki's, my fiance. She's got the best. She's got the best feet of them all.
When you see somebody that has their horse has really good hooves, what do you attribute that to mostly, or how do you think that comes about?
Probably the biggest thing is a good feed program, a lot of good alfalfa or good grain, and then having them get done regularly. You know, their horse's feet trimmed or shod regularly is probably the biggest help. I think feed has got a lot to do with it, though. Feed and exercise.
From the inside out, pretty much.
Yeah, and that carries over to everything. Their hair coat, to their feet, their overall health.
I didn't tell him to say all this.
You didn't?
No. You said exercise as well helps with.
Yeah, good. Like if they're just sitting dormant, like in a stall or whatever, they don't get enough blood flowing up and down their leg, and that can cause problems with their feet. You can kind of get shelly feet, or they just don't get enough circulation.
Exercise helps with.
Yeah, like a lot of the race horses and stuff, the thoroughbreds that are getting exercised every single day, like a lot of those horses, they shoe every 4 weeks.
Right.
But, you know, their foot's growing so much, you know, and it's got a lot to do with their feed and their exercise. Both combined makes for a lot of foot growth. And then, but as far as like the health goes, you know, every shoer's got their own opinion on, you know, how they want to balance a foot and so on and so forth. But most of them don't really veer too far from the general basics,
right.
You know. So,
explain what that means a little bit more for like somebody that, you know, just like in layman's terms. What do you mean by that, as far as balance and all that stuff?
Well, there's
how could someone be one way or the other, a little bit, you know, on either side of the fence?
Like medial lateral balance is kind of how that foot tips to the inside or outside or flat is where you want it. But, you know, and you create that with your tools, you know, with your rasp and your nippers, and you can be off one way or another. And the beauty of the foot is that it's growing. So even if you make
a second chance at it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, now if you screw up badly, then yeah, you're going to affect them drastically. But if you're off by just a little bit, it's typically not going to make a huge problem for the horse. But that's like medial lateral is that way, and then like too long a toe and too short a heel is going to put more pressure or on like your suspensory apparatus and your navicular bursa or bone down in here. Like if it's way too much leverage out front, then they have a hard time breaking over, and that's gonna hinder them, you know. Might not be something you see right away unless there's like a previous problem with the suspensory apparatus, but then over time, if they're shod that way for a long time, then you can see problems.
Have you ever seen that? Like somebody had their horse messed up over and over for so long that it made it, you know, caused other issues?
The nice thing about horses, if they're pretty forgiving, you know. I mean, sometimes you can't get them back, you know, to sound but you can always get them back to balance, and that's probably the key. And then you can, with help from the vet or different supplement companies or whatever, you know, you can kind of help the horse at least have a productive life, you know. May or may not be the athlete he once was, but at least he's able to do something.
Yeah.
You know.
Give me some at-home tips that you think somebody is the most common thing that you see that somebody could work on at home with their horse.
Like this time of year, probably the most common thing is the owners tend to just kick their horses out, and maybe they kind of forget about them or something, you know, and they're fighting flies and stomping the ground. And it's, you know, in the springtime, it was wet, like really wet. And, you know, some of our owners and then some of the, you know, my other shoeing buddies, they'd be like having to go fix shoes like over and over and over. And the owners just left them outside, and it's, you know, we're getting inches of rain at a time, and their feet are wet and soft. And
sanding and sop, yeah.
Yeah, they don't have enough, you know, strength to hold the shoe on, or they just step on it, and, you know, they're missing shoes.
Right.
And put them up every once in a while, or, you know, put them in a stall, or find them a dry place to hang out for 7 or 8 hours a day.
Right.
You know, and then let that foot not just be completely soaked all the time.
Right.
And that helps a lot.
Any other things you see that are common? Either that you see, like when the farrier comes, that people...
Probably waiting too long to get them done. You know, and it's easy to do because we're all busy. You know,
Right.
or everybody's got a hectic, most of us do, I think. And, you know, you look at them one day and they look fine, and then, shoot, you don't think of it.
3 weeks is gone.
Yeah, 3 weeks
Right.
goes by again, and now they're, you know, got a bunch of foot to take off. And I think sometimes that can be effective because it draws everything forward, and pretty soon your heels start to move in by waiting too long.
Gotcha.
You know.
What's the most common time period? I know it varies insanely.
Usually in the springtime, spring and summer, they're going to grow the most. So I would say 6 weeks is typical, 5 or 6 weeks in the summertime and spring. And then, you know, in the fall and the winter time comes, they usually slow down. And I don't know if this is a fact or not, but I think the proteins that go to the hair coat also go to the foot. So when the fall comes and it's time for them to start growing hair, they usually slow down on their foot growth. And so that's why you see that. And then, you know, they're going to get a little bit less exercise. You know, the daylight hours are a lot less in the
Right.
fall and winter.
Right.
So I think that's why they typically slow down. I know I'm guilty of it. I don't do it near enough, but probably pick your horse's feet. You know, get a hoof pick. This is definitely a foot that's waited too long to do.
Exhibit A.
Yeah, but he's ours.
You're one of your worst clients.
I'm exactly what I complain about. If you can do it a couple times a week, and you'll be surprised what you notice. It might be good if some people don't do that, because then they'll be calling their shoer every other week.
For issues.
But I noticed this, which is fine. But
Hey, just don't look.
don't read too far. Just send a picture.
Do you recommend most people like working around the frog and stuff like that, or do you just usually tell them to?
I don't mind it. I mean, they're not gonna.
Too many issues that come from that.
No.
Somebody doing it themselves or anything.
I mean, this knife's pretty sharp, and I mean, I gotta really dig in to really get anything.
Right.
But you really just want to try and clean it through here, the connoisseurs, and what you're wanting to pay attention to is if it's thrush, it'll have like, you can kind of see that little black. Now, I mean, it's gonna be black, but if it's like a tar, like a tarry kind of texture,
Okay.
then that's where that
Is
back.
most thrush, I mean, is it taken care of with some of the like over the counter, just normal medicines and stuff
I mean,
like
if
that?
you
Or do
catch
think
it
it's
early
environment is the biggest.
Oh, probably environment is the biggest thing, why it happens.
Solve that first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the bacteria is what they're stepping on it, or they're getting in it
Right.
with their environment, and then you can treat it with most, I don't know, thrush buster.
Right.
Some of those topical deals. Now, if it's really bad, then you're going to have to get more aggressive with something.
Right.
I don't know. It just depends on, you know, everybody's going to tell you something a little bit different.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Okay. You know, once you treat it and get it taken care of, or even while you're treating it, then that horse should stay in a little more dry area.
Right.
You know, you don't want them to just continually be in the same environment that it's, you know, grew in. Go get a book that explains what you're looking at, or ask the shoer. Most people aren't scared, or you know, most people like to tell you what they know,
right?
Even if they're making it up or not. But so ask, you know.
Yeah.
Did you hear what he said? He said a good feeding program helps your horse's feet. Don't forget. I can tell you where to buy feed.
But yeah, pick your horse's feet out from time to time, you know.